Okay, so it's Friday, January 17th. Chris Russell, founder of Voqel, is joining me. Chris, nice of you to join us. We sure appreciate it.
Hi, Hugh. Nice to chat.
So listen, I want to start out. Let's start right from the beginning and tell me what Voqel does, who you sell to, and kind of what its value is. What makes it special?
Okay, let me do that with a short story. A couple years ago, my son graduated from high school. We told him we weren't going to get him a graduation gift, but he could go anywhere he wanted in the world. And so he called me a month later and said, "Dad, I want to go to India and I want you to come." So, how often do you get invited by your kid to go travel? I had to do it. We traveled for a month together. And I learned India is an incredible place, incredibly diverse. And I never would have appreciated it without hearing the stories directly. And so I get back home and I was contrasting our travel experience together with back to school night for my other son and just watching the kids, text and message each other, and they're communicating through status updates. And I thought, wow, that doesn't capture the richness of our experience. Where are our stories and where are our voices? And I couldn't let go of that idea. And so I got together with some friends and we decided to build an application that would allow people to connect directly with their own stories and in their own voices. And so what we've built is a kind of personal publishing platform that's entirely in voice. So you can record stories, a kid's music concert, a travel blog, whatever you want, you can put it in your own voice. And then people on the other side can use the app to listen to your stories and the stories of other people. And it creates kind of a self-curated radio station. And so that's what we do. And you asked about what's the value of it. The value of it is to help promote a more authentic style of connection between people on the one hand, and at the same time help people unleash their innate creativity. A lot of people have an impulse to create. We're all natural storytellers, so let's enable that. And how fun would that be?
That's great. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. So enabling storytelling, creativity. Chris, tell us about how you go to market or planning to go to market. How are you going to get the product in people's hands and so on?
Well, we've been about a year and a half in development, and it's been very much product focused. So we've built the product both as a mobile app downloadable through the Apple Store, but we also created a website with all of the mirror functionality. And we did that so that bloggers could edit and upload their audio using a computer, which is a little different than speaking it directly into a mobile phone. And so it took some work to pull that together. And, we launched our test version in August and did some debugging and then relaunched a more market-ready version in November. And so we're just now getting to the point of content and customer acquisition and distribution. So that's the year ahead of us. So it's an exciting time.
Well, sure. Well, actually, let's talk about perspective. Let's talk about your plans. How are you planning to acquire customers? How are you going to distribute? What do you got laid out before you?
Yeah, I kind of think of it in three buckets. The first one being individuals, the second one being groups or communities, and the third one I call brands. And we'll think of those as company or corporate initiatives. And so on the individual level, it's largely driven through word of mouth. You talk to friends, you talk to family members, they pass along the good news about what we're doing. The fun thing about storytelling is it's naturally viral. So as soon as you tell a story, you want someone to hear it. And so, for instance, just when we were doing our test app, I had a mom record her young child singing his ABCs for the first time. She took that little audio clip and posted it to her Facebook. And a month later, it's been listened to over 100 times. And so I view each of those listens as a potential user of Voqel. It's not a huge mental leap to figure out, hey, maybe I could do this too. And I want to share something with, my kid reading a book so grandma can hear it, even though she lives on the other side of the country kind of thing. And so at the individual level, I really do think it's building a product that's of obvious value. And then word of mouth is the most powerful agent for recruiting folks. On the second bucket, which is groups and associations, that would be where we have a community manager going out and working directly with nursing homes, churches, nonprofit organizations, universities, and so on down the line, where there's already communities aggregated, and work with them to help them understand how they could use Voqel as a tool for helping people within their community connect in a neat way. And so that's maybe a more kind of a direct sales, marketing, outreach, phone calls, visiting with people, emailing, and what have you. In between those two, I would say there's a huge sub-market for us called bloggers. And these are folks that they like to get the word out about what their ideas are, and a lot of it's done in text. And what Voqel does is it allows them to put their existing blog entries in their own voice, which is kind of fun and interesting, but more important for the folks that follow their blog, it now allows them to listen so they can absorb the blog content while they're driving. And so we have a targeted initiative to just get out to bloggers and let them know, hey, we've created a free radio station if you want to share your content via audio. And we've done some of that already, and it's working pretty well. And then the last category is brands. And by that, I mean a company. And so there's a nice movement afoot for a brand to say, let's put our product experience into a narrative, because that's how people absorb it. It's not features and functions and price point that they're interested in. They want to know how this can, bring something valuable to my life. And you do that through narrative. And so brands already get this. And so usually when I go talk with somebody trying to get the word out about a product, they'll tell me how they want to use Voqel. I don't need to share ideas with them. And so, and that's an exciting segment for us, because that's how we'll monetize this business, is through advertising. And so it's a good idea to help brands tell their story. And it's easier to tell the story with some words attached, and it's more emotive when the words are put to the beautiful sound of a human voice. And so that's what our approach is, Hugh.
No, that makes a lot of sense, Chris. I appreciate that. Well, if you had to tell us, if you had one big takeaway from getting a company started and being a founder and launching something you're excited about over the last couple of years, what's the one thing you'd like to leave us with?
Doing something like this from scratch is hard work. And it's a roller coaster. You definitely things that you hoped would have happened, and even people that you hoped would have helped might not be there for you. And at the same time, there's wonderful things that happen that you didn't even expect, and people come out of the woodwork and help that you never would have guessed. And so, when you're involved early like this, and you've got in a sense, kind of your name on the business, and you feel a lot of alignment with what you're trying to do, it's a wild roller coaster ride.
That sounds like a good learning. That sounds like a good takeaway. Well, Chris, thanks for spending time with us. Great to hear about Voqel. We'll look forward to how you progress this year and how you launch. And best of luck to you.
Thank you, Hugh. Appreciate it.